All right, welcome, Nathan, to our Leaders Who Care youth part of the series. It's my favorite part of the whole series because you guys are just like way more fresher, smarter, the whole bit than all the rest of them. So, welcome.
Thank you so much, Mark. I guess I'll just introduce myself then. My
All
name
right, I
is
like that.
Nathan
He doesn't
Tan.
even let me ask the question. He just goes for it. Way to go. All right, do it.
My name is Nathan Tan, and I'm currently 15 years old, and I'm entering my sophomore year of high school at the St. Mark's School of Texas in Dallas. I'm a member of my school's debate team, and I'm also a water polo and swim team athlete.
All right, are you good at treading water then, I guess?
Yeah, had to do a
Damn.
lot of treading today, actually.
I saw one player, I was in the Olympics or whatnot. He was huge. It almost looked like he could stand up in the water, like 6'8" or something. It was like quite incredible. In your introduction, tell us a little bit about where you're originally from, your family, a little bit about that.
Absolutely. So I was born in Plano, Texas, which is in the suburbs of Dallas, but I go to school in Dallas, of course, at St. Mark's. And I was actually in public school until I came to St. Mark's, which is a private school. I came to St. Mark's for my freshman year. And leading up to that, I was in these huge public schools. And yeah, I have an older sister. She's a senior, or she's just finished her senior year, so she's going off to college this fall at UCLA. And my parents are both originally, well, my mom is from China and my dad is from the Philippines, but they're both Chinese and they moved here when they were a lot younger. So now I've lived my whole life in Texas and I really love it here. So, and my sister as well too.
Do you get her room?
I think I'll just leave her room as it is. She'll come back sometime. So
Okay.
yeah.
That's usually the first thing that says, "I want the room," type of thing. Um, no, that's interesting. What were you like? I almost hate to answer this question. What were you like as a kid? Because you're still kind of a kid, but you're a teenage kid. What were you like
Mhm.
as a kid? Did you read a lot? Did you play sports? Did you organize lemonade stands? What were you like?
A pretty interesting question. I mean, looking back, I just typically think of myself as a pretty friendly, curious kid, pretty nice and outgoing. I've always tried to like make an impact on those around me, whether by making them laugh or just being a nice friend, being there for them. And I would say like as a kid, I've always also tried to be a leader in my community, in my classroom, anything like that. And so I wasn't involved in too many sports as a kid, but in the classrooms where I was, heavily involved in, I would like to consider myself a studious elementary student, but I always tried to be there for my friends and lead by example, be a respectful individual, and try to do the right thing even when it's not necessarily popular. So, of course, elementary school and middle school, there's all of these different cliques, I guess you could say, and they all have their specific ideas on what's right and what's cool. And I guess I tried to always think of what's like morally right. And I tried to do that and I tried to get other people to do that. And so in fifth grade, I was part of my school's leadership program. It was called Comic Captains. And from there, I kind of learned what it meant to be a leader and how to be nice to others and also be respectful and understanding of their situations and their ideas and be inclusive and that kind of thing. And so I guess like as a kid, also looking back, I found myself naturally taking lead in a lot of different projects. And so like if I was assigned a group project with a few other people, I focused a lot on like collaboration and valuing other people's ideas and making sure everyone is heard. So I guess that was one of the big things that I look back on. And I think that's kind of who I was as a person, just trying to make sure that everyone feels included and everyone gets a voice
So when you
in
were in
any
kindergarten,
scenario.
when you were in kindergarten, did you fight over crayons and stuff like that?
Yeah, I tried to make sure everyone got the same amount of
You did.
crayons, equally distributed them, of course.
Oh, very good. So when did you realize that you enjoy and are good at public speaking?
So I guess public speaking has always been a pretty big part of my life because all throughout my elementary school years, I was in an after-school daycare center. It was really a Chinese daycare, so I learned Chinese and I was able to speak amongst other Chinese students, but there was one part of this that was kind of different, and so each Friday we had to write a speech, and it was in English. So it was in an English speech, and I thought it was kind of interesting how they valued public speaking at a really young age, because I was just in elementary school. And so each Friday we would write the speech, and then the next Friday we would present the speech. And so for a lot of students, this was kind of a point of dread for them. They usually Fridays are pretty awesome, but after school, a lot of kids did not want to have to write a speech or present a speech in front of the whole class and in front of a few teachers as well. And so I guess I would say I really got introduced to public speaking at that daycare center because I found it pretty enjoyable to be able to tell a story in front of the class and connect with my peers and be able to make them laugh and even from time to time make my teachers laugh as well. And I thought that's pretty fun. And I just continued public speaking. I was able to make all kinds of speeches through that daycare center. And then I guess moving forward after elementary school, I my mom signed me up for a debate camp that I really didn't want to do because I figured it would just
Oh,
be
did you have a
competitive speaking.
debate? Did you have a debate with your mom to not go to debate camp?
It wasn't really I didn't really have a voice, I kind of just had to do it. And but it turns out good because I guess I was signed up for this debate camp and yeah, like I said, it's just competitive speaking, so I'll have to
Do,
figure that out.
do you remember like one debate that is memorable?
Um There have been a lot of debates in my life, in my middle school and high school career, I guess, but there are definitely a few. I remember there was one time so typically the debate style that I do is 2 people versus 2 people, and one
Hmm.
time I was against a 3-person team, which I didn't really understand how that fit into the rules in any way, but I thought it was pretty interesting, and they all collaborated, and I was just like, "How is this possible?" But, it was a good debate, and it was really interesting how, like, they all 3 had their own individual parts and worked together
What was the
to create a
topic?
pretty good team. So the topic was about fiscal redistribution, um,
Wow.
in one of 3 forms: a basic income, a social security, or a jobs guarantee. So that was just last year, but
That
I
was
thought that was
last
pretty
year you
interesting.
did on fiscal redistribution. Man, they can't even figure out, even the adults can't figure that one out, for God's sakes. Um,
Pretty tough topic.
was that 1 on 3 or 2 on 3?
2 on that was 2 on 3.
Oh, good. And that's at
So,
least a good chance.
yeah.
That seems pretty interesting. I wanted you to talk about some of the initiatives that you've been involved in
Mhm.
and the impact they've made and the accomplishments you've had. Can you, for example, let's say we start with Spear. Can you explain briefly what Spear is and what was happening there?
Okay, so SPEAR stands for Shaping Powerful Expression and Rhetoric, and it's this organization that I created with 4 of my buddies from St. Mark's. And so initially we began as just a public speaking club where we could collaborate and work together, create speeches and present them to each other and learn a little bit more about how to become a better speaker. And so alongside like working together with each other and a few other students from my school, we started volunteering at a community center which helps underprivileged students. So a lot of non-native English speakers. So we wanted to also help them, become good speakers and really be able to present in front of an audience or in front of a crowd. And
Hmm.
so we volunteered with them, and we kind of noticed that a lot of schools don't really have any emphasis at all on public speaking or communication courses. And even private schools like St. Mark's, of course, they have a nationally ranked debate team, but we don't have too many specific courses on just making sure that students can get a taste of public speaking and build their confidence through that. And so what Spear is doing is we're really just working on providing all students around the metroplex, I guess, and well, hopefully around the world, but I'll talk about that later, of really just providing high quality curriculum and public speaking programs. So we have a variety of courses, um, depending on different things like hand gestures, of course, but also being able to write a speech and present it in front of an audience and how to look credible and passionate in front of an audience. So that's kind of what we're doing right now. I would say we've had a pretty big impact from where we started. It was around August of this year or August of last year. So we've been working for about 1 year now, and we have almost 10 different locations of Spear
Wow.
chapters around the nation. right now, and so we have a few chapters in the DFW area as well, but we have some in the Northeast. So we've also been able to partner with some students there, and I think that's pretty interesting how we're able to spread that impact and spread our curriculum. And
Yeah,
so,
that's
yeah, that's kind of
fantastic actually, because a lot of people are afraid to speak because it can
mhm,
be nervous and whatnot. But if you learn if you learn how to do it and you feel comfortable and all that, it's quite a skill set in anything you do later on, even like you're doing right now. Congrats on that. Remind me to talk to you about Nonflict that you can actually present to all
mhm,
your spear chapters, and I think it would be very valuable. So remind me, it's a workshop training on how to look at conflict differently, how to be active listeners so that you can get along to move forward in other stuff instead of arguing about stuff. It sounds like it'd be
mhm.
pretty cool. Talk to me then a little bit about Rove Card.
Yeah, so Rove is actually a very early stage company, and it's targeted towards Gen Z with travel credit cards. And so it's this really interesting company. It's backed by a ton of these accelerators, Y Combinator, Pair Venture Capitalists. So tons of companies, tons of big companies have, supported us. And it's really interesting, I think, because it's one of the first travel credit cards that's meant specifically for younger users, Gen Z, of course. And as we move forward, I think we have like a lot of benefits that other companies don't, and the fact that we're able to provide like the ability to travel the world at a young age with a credit card that's comparable to some of these like extremely exclusive ones is pretty interesting. And
Yeah.
so we're headquartered in New York City right now, and we're continuing to grow, doing tons of amazing things. Our founders are from Harvard and UPenn, so they're very qualified. They know a lot of what they're talking about. And I've just been really working with a few of the other interns for the company, and it's just truly been amazing because I've kind of getting a feel of how it looks like to be in a startup or an early stage company, and that's been really amazing. So with the other interns and workers, I've specifically been working on designs and slogans for the company to put on the website or to advertise. And I think that's been really fun because like I enjoy being a thinking on what the people will like. So of course like marketing and how we're gonna be able to market Rove to younger audience as well. So I've been also working on that in terms of video ideas on social media platforms for to advertise Rove, and also like working on the website and like user interface systems. So that's
Well,
been pretty interesting.
that's fantastic actually. Steve Jobs, when he thought of his computers and whatnot, he thought of what stuff that we didn't even know we needed yet that
Mhm.
he knew we would need, basically. So yeah, it's great that you're thinking about, what do the people need, what do the Gen Zs want, et cetera, et cetera. Um, so do you ever get a chance to go to headquarters out east?
Um, Not yet. I haven't been able to, but I've heard our office is very nice. It's in the World Trade Center in New York, so
You can't beat that. That's pretty cool.
very excited for the
So
company.
another one I'm intrigued about that you're involved with is EarthX, and you've
Mhm.
done two things with them. And if you can share, you've done EarthX Future Leaders, and then there's
Mhm.
EarthX you've been doing on corporate and community outreach. Can you share about both of those?
Yeah, I think so. I'd really just start from the beginning, from the start, where I was able to partner with EarthX in the first place. So I guess my my mom and I were kind of looking around these nonprofits, and we found that EarthX was actually looking for interns. And so I looked at community outreach, and I thought it was really interesting how they were being able to find events for people to attend and really make a difference. And so EarthX is an international nonprofit, and they're really dedicated to educating and inspiring people and other organizations, smaller nonprofit organizations, to like take action. And I think it's really amazing. They have their conference each year called the EarthX Congress of Conferences, and it's one of the largest conferences about environmental topics in the world. It's incredible, and I had the privilege of going. But
Nice.
before that, I guess I started volunteering about 2 months before, and I was able to, right off the bat, I started working and reaching out to these green groups and green events on attending the EarthX conference and also just in general gathering these events and putting them on our website to display them to people visiting our
Hmm.
website. And so smaller nonprofits and smaller organizations would be would host these events, but a lot of people wouldn't see them because they're smaller. And so we would put these events on our community calendar on our website, and a lot of people would get access to them. And I think it's pretty amazing how we can compile everything because there's so much out there, even just in our Metroplex, that people can do. So pretty much like every day of a month, you can find something to do to help the environment or to make a difference. And so I started with that, and then moving forward, I started reaching out to green groups in the Metroplex also to attend our TV stage, which is free during our conference, and runs the entire length of our conference. And it's these wonderful speakers and presenters talking about topics that they're passionate about. And so I thought it's amazing. And I was able to share that with a lot of people and invite them to our group, or to our conference.
Hmm.
And that was pretty fun. I was kind of just cold calling a lot of these groups. But it's a good skill to learn.
Absolutely.
And yeah, and so at the conference, I had the privilege of attending the conference for 2 days. It was during the week, so I got to miss a little school to
Yeah, bummer.
attend the conference. But that was really fun, and I was able to gather a few quotes from some of our renowned speakers, and we were able to put them on our LinkedIn or social media and platforms like that. And so I thought that was really fun as well. And then, so after the conference, we've kind of been focusing, well, I've been focusing a little bit more on the Future Leaders EarthX, which is kind of a separate program that I'm kind of building from the ground up. And so, of course, EarthX, wants to have an impact with the younger students and high school students, teenagers. And I think like education is always a big part of a nonprofit, or a part that should be big with a nonprofit. And so
Hmm.
like with FLX, I've kind of been it's a student-led initiative also, so kind of similar to Spear in a way, where we're focusing on education, engagement, and leadership, specifically for helping the environment and creating the future leaders. And
Hmm.
so that's called EarthX Future Leaders or FLX. And we've been working a lot behind the scenes on what exactly is going to go through and the meetings that we're having. So I'm really excited for that.
And
I've
how
kind
do
of
you
been able to like
define a future leader?
a future leader is everyone, actually. I think anyone will can become a leader. It's just a matter of when they start. And I think that Future Leaders EarthX specifically is for high school students like me. And I think like a lot of us do care about the environment. They just don't exactly know how we can make a difference. And I think that a platform like EarthX Future Leaders is a great way for them to start learning about it and engaging with other people that are similar to them and
Well,
being
that's
able
a
to make a difference.
good start of a definition of a leader. You said someone who cares,
Hmm.
and then someone who's willing to learn and listen. So
Hmm.
those are really good initial attributes that you came across with as future leaders. I mean, that's amazing. Some of the stuff you're doing. What do you envision ahead of you? In the short term or even afterwards. What are you dreaming about?
Well, for both of the initiatives I'm working on, so Spirit and FLX, I really hope to take them like on a wider scale. So with Spirit, we already have almost 10 chapters around the nation, and I think really I want to be able to spread that impact because tons of schools would love, you know, a public speaking club that has already pre-made curriculum. We even published a book with Spear. And so I think that being able to spread that to as many people around the world because ultimately communication is extremely important, and I think with Spear we can really foster that. Um, and so I guess like I I envision kind of us each school year gaining more and more chapters, and with each chapter we have continuing to build upon that, and they can spread that to their own communities. So obviously I'm based in Dallas, so I'm working as hard as I can here, but in California and Massachusetts and Georgia, we have a few chapters. And so we're really working on spreading that all around their communities. And for FLX, I would say I really hope to just as of right now, of course, we're a little bit younger than Spear even. And so I would like to, for this academic year, I would say I would like to get a good group of individuals who really care and show up consistently and want to make a difference and work together. And I think that would be the really the biggest thing for me is just having a good group of friends really to make, to make a difference with and to work with
Do you see
like
yourself,
every month.
as you get older, doing some of this like permanently?
I definitely do. I think EarthX is a fantastic nonprofit. Tremel S. Crow is actually the founder, and so he's
Hmm.
been pouring his heart out into this as well. And so I've been able to talk to him and many of the others at EarthX, and I think it's just a fantastic community workplace. And I really hope to continue Future Leaders EarthX um,
Yeah,
as I get older because
I think that'd be great. Yeah, he's done an
yes.
amazing job with that, and I
Mhm.
remember talking. And I remember working with his company years ago, actually, and talking to him subsequent about what he's doing. So he should deserve a lot of credit for that. Um, just before we close, I wanted to ask you. We all have people that influence us during our life, but also there's been a lot going on, especially for your generation between COVID and now AI is going super speed and everything else in between. With all that said, what are you most grateful for, and what are you also most hopeful for?
I'm really grateful for my family. I think they have to listen to me a lot. I talk
They
about
have
the
to. They don't
wildest
have
things,
to.
um, and I force them to listen to me, I guess we could say that, and they've always been there for me. They support me through all of my endeavors. They listen to my wild plans of having Spear or FLX really take over the world with, you know,
Wow.
chapters around the country, around the nation, around the world. And so I think like I really appreciate them being there for me and
How about you
supporting
grateful?
me.
How about you grateful for that good vacation you just took?
Yeah, definitely grateful. I think it really opened my eyes, of course, like allowing me to travel and see the world myself, and also in the little things, of course, like driving me to school or to EarthX's office. I think it really makes a difference. Although I will be able to drive soon, so
That'll
looking
scare
forward
them.
to
Yeah, that's when they're going to really be scared. What are you most
it.
hopeful for?
I'm really hopeful for, I guess, in an ideal world for me, um, students would be able to attend an FLX meeting and find something that they're passionate about, and whether it be through emerging technologies or policy, something that they really care about relating to the environment. And I think being able to learn from that and then also attending a spear meeting and being able to learn about communication and building a voice. And I think, in a perfect world, like they would be able to learn about their passion and then they would also learn about how to communicate that passion to the rest of the world. And they would go on to make a difference. And so I think in terms of like what I'm hopeful for is really both organizations being large enough to where students can um, be a part of both of them and really make a difference with what they're passionate about.
No, that's fantastic. Well, I'm really grateful for your parents who apparently did a pretty good job, what I can see, and I'm grateful that you're you're a leader who cares already. What we would call we're going to call you guys future leaders who care, but I think you're really present future leaders who care right now. So and that's what also makes me hopeful is the passion. That you all bring and you especially bring to the table and helping other people. And you saw it as a kid, and now it's even going further with you. So way to go, and thanks for being on the Leaders Who Care series.
Thank you so much, Mark. I'm looking forward to whatever is in the future. I mean, working with the other LWC youth um, members and, of course, the
We'll make
leaders who
that
care.
we'll make
So,
that happen. Thanks, man.
looking forward to it. Thank you so much.